Hello, my name is Maggie. I am a web and graphic designer from the Philadelphia area. In this video, we're going to take a look at the role of span tags in our web design projects. Today, we are going to take a look at what is a span tag in HTML. In this video, we are going to review when and where we use span tags. We will review the connection that HTML and CSS play together when working with span tags. We begin by asking the question, what is a span tag? We can say that a span tag is like an empty box. Once we add the CSS to this empty box, to this container, we stylize it. So our span tag is generic on its own, but the CSS is what adds the style. When and where do we use our span tag? We said that our span tag was like that empty box, and we could compare our span tag to our div tags. Both of these tags on their own are generic. It's when we add the CSS that we get our style. So what is the difference between a div and a span? Our div tags are used for block line elements. When we think of this, our block line elements have a line break before and after them, usually. Our div tags are used to group larger chunks of information, chunks of code. A span tag is an inline element, and it's used for a small piece, a small chunk of HTML inside a line, inside a paragraph. Here we see it inside an H1 tag. This is what this would look like. We see that we have changed the word red to red in Amazing Red Apples. Let's try it out. We open an HTML page. Let's begin by creating an unordered list. I type the opening and closing unordered list, and then I add my list items. For my list items, I am going to add apples, pears, and oranges. I work with the HTML tags for an unordered list. I save and preview. Now I'm going to return to my unordered list and stylize it by wrapping apples, pears, and oranges inside of span tags. I wrap apples in an opening and closing span tag. The span tags on their own do not format or change the way that this is viewed. I need to add some CSS in order to do this. For this example, I will add the CSS directly to the HTML tag. I type span style equals color red. I add an opening and closing span tag to pears. For pears, I type span style color equals green yellow, and an opening and closing span tag to oranges. For oranges, I type span style equals color orange. I save and preview. The green yellow of pears is very difficult to see, so I am going to change it from green yellow to green. Save and preview. Now it is much easier to see. Let's try another example. Let's add an opening and closing paragraph tag, and let's experiment by changing the font weight and font style. I am typing a sentence inside of paragraph tags. I am going to add a bold. For the word bold, I will wrap it inside of span tags, and opening and closing span tags. In order to stylize bold to bold, I will add span style equals font weight bold. I continue to type and add an italic. I will take the word italic and wrap it inside of span tags. I will stylize this span by typing the following: style equals font style italic. I save and preview. I now see the results of working with span tags. I have changed the colors of apples, pears, and oranges And by working with span tags in the context of p tags, I have added bold and italic. Now let's take a look at working with span tags in the context of a larger web design project. This project, My Times, can be found on Codecademy's platform. I am going to target the layout of my nav bar, which is at the top and the bottom of this page. I'm going to do this by wrapping the items in my nav bar inside of span tags. I see I have my opening and closing nav, and I see I have the items of my nav. I type an opening and closing span tag. Currently, my nav items are wrapped in links. I have World, US, Tech, Science. I come to the bottom of my index.html and I find a nav bar at the bottom of this page. I follow the same steps and wrap my nav items inside of span tags. I come to my external CSS sheet and I am going to add a rule to stylize these span tags. Since these span tags are inside of my nav, I will type the following: nav span. I am going to set the display to inline block. This will make these items flow inline and it will format them to the parent of this item. I will also add some padding. 20, 10. 20 corresponds to the top and bottom, and 10 to the left and right. I set these at pixels. I save and preview. I am also going to target the type My Times that is part of the logo. I'm going to wrap My Times inside of a span tag. I'm going to change the color to medium aquamarine. I come to my style.css and I add the following rule: logo span, color medium aquamarine. I save and preview. I can see that by working with span tags, I've been able to format my logo as well as my nav bar. In this video, we took a look at how span tags on their own may be generic, but when we use them with our CSS, we can organize and stylize our web design elements. We reviewed the differences and similarities between our span and div tags in HTML, and we also tested the role that CSS plays when working with span tags in our web design projects. Thanks for watching. This was Maggie with Codecademy. Join this conversation by subscribing to this channel or dropping a comment below. If you want to take your skills to the next level, start learning on Codecademy today. Thanks so much.